Thank you, and welcome to episode 20 of Hobson's Choice. I'm Michael G. Hobson, and in this episode, the G stands for gerrymandering and voter suppression. According to the Oxford Dictionary, gerrymandering is the manipulation of the boundaries of an electoral constituency to favor one party. And in the same dictionary, the definition of suppression is the restraint or repression of an idea, activity, or reaction by something more powerful. Both of these actions defy the meaning of democracy. So why does the Republican Party insist on doing both? Why do they gerrymander districts to favor their electoral chances, and why do they suppress legitimate Americans from their right to vote? Two reasons: because it works and because they can. Republicans don't believe in democracy. Oh, they'll wrap themselves in the flag and talk about American values, but they don't give a rat's ass about the flag or American values. What they care about is power. Power to take money from the poor and the middle class and give it to their millionaire and billionaire donors, who then turn around and pay them a stipend, like their staff members. And they are. To deny a citizen the right to vote goes against every fabric of democracy. It is the right of every citizen in democratic nations to have a say in their government. It is why we have elections. If we don't like the government, we vote them out. On August 6, 1965, President Lyndon Johnson signed into law the Voting Rights Act that prohibited racial discrimination in voting. In 2013, the Republican-led U.S. Supreme Court invalidated the Voting Rights Act, thereby making it easier for states to disqualify and disenfranchise minority voters. Of course, the Republicans took this ruling and ran with it. States like Georgia and Kansas integrated plans to disqualify minorities from voting and gave a seal of approval to Ohio's system of voter purges, in which the state uses a failure to vote as a trigger to begin the multi-step process of taking people off voter rolls. The Supreme Court also rejected a lower court's finding that the Texas Republican Party had intentionally diluted Black and Latino votes in legislative and state maps that had been redrawn after racial gerrymandering challenges. In the words of American historian C. Van Woodward, by narrow and ingenious interpretation, the Supreme Court's decisions over a period of years whittled away a great part of the authority presumably given the government for protection of civil rights. And this gave rise to noted racists and segregationists to take control of their states, people like Brian Kemp in Georgia and Chris Kobach in Kansas. These men don't hide their racism. They, like many in the Republican Party, want to return to the days before the 14th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified in 1868, an amendment that granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States. They want as many minorities as possible purged from voter rolls, since minorities typically vote Democrat. Any wonder? Recently, the racist in chief talked about eliminating birthright citizenship, and in effect returning the country to a pre-1868 environment when minorities were not citizens, they were slaves. Yes, the Republican Party is a party of segregationists. I'm not saying that all members of the party are racist. I'm saying a major portion of their ideology is racist. Think of it this way. While Republicans so fear of dangerous immigrants coming to take your land, rape your women, steal your property, and kill your children, white supremacists and other far-right extremists have killed far more people since 9/11 than any other category of domestic extremists. Last week, a white Trump supporter sent bombs to a number of prominent people he believed to be anti-Trump, and a white nationalist killed 2 black people, but stopped short of killing a white bystander, saying, "Whites don't kill whites." Actually, they do. 11 people were murdered while praying in a Pittsburgh synagogue, killed by a white nationalist. The greatest threat to the American people is a white nationalist extremism that has been emboldened and fueled by the hateful and racist rhetoric of this president and by the Republican Party. Now, if you vote Republican, it's probably because you have always voted Republican and your parents before you voted Republican and on down the line. But you know this? This is not the Republican Party you have known all your life, or your parents have known all of your lives. That Republican Party does not exist anymore. The era of small government and free market is gone. Your party has been taken over by the radical Tea Party and the extreme right-wing nationalists who birthed Trump. Now your party is about hate, division, corruption, the ruination of the earth for monetary values, and it's about the separation of families, the disenfranchisement, disqualification, imprisonment, and suppression of minorities, and the killing of Jews. Is this America, or is it a faction of Russian rule? As for finances, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says that the deficit is too high, that cuts need to be made. The deficit is high because of the tax cuts given to the top 1% in the country's income bracket. To pay for those tax cuts, they want to cut Medicare and Medicaid, and in fact take the money out of the pockets of the working class and give it to those who don't need it, but want it simply out of greed. Much has been made of Sheldon Adelson giving $40 million to the Republican Party for these elections, but the tax cuts netted Adelson 3 times that amount. He's investing in a business, the Republican business. Republicans do not govern for the people. They govern for themselves and for their donors. One more thing. The world is watching. What America does, other nations copy. As such, there has been a proliferation of authoritarian regimes cropping up around the world. They figure if America wants authoritarianism, then it should be good for them as well. Please, I ask, not as a citizen of the United States, but as a concerned citizen of a world in peril, please remove the Republicans from power. You can wound the Republicans in this election and kill them in 2020. Our planet turns its troubled eyes to you, the American voter. Till next time, my friends, be well.